Hello, welcome to my dinner table. This video basically was actually going to be a combination of things. Originally inspired by some fellow dads of mine about these hose splitters, but I never got around to doing it. And then Megan, my friend Megan, bought some hex wrenches. I'm going to talk a little about hex wrenches because of that, and get to why that's relevant to these guys over here. Megan sent a tweet, which I didn't see because I'm now like mostly in Mastodon, and then she's went to Mastodon saying, "Hey, I don't know if you're on Twitter, or whatever. I don't know if you're on Twitter anymore. Hey, I got a 30 pack of hex wrenches," and I'm like, "Hey, cool, blah blah blah." So I'm going to just talk a little about hex wrenches. Not so much for her because she has hex wrenches, but so she had a 30 pack, probably cheaper than this. Those are fine. Either Botus, the two brands I would say if you're going to spend money, like Botus, or if you want to spend real money, Weha. The advantage of the one of the advantages of the Botus is they have these ball ends over here, and so let's actually go to so this is a 5/16 screw, and I don't know, maybe that's about that would definitely be. So they come in metric and SAE. This is definitely going to be SAE. Let's try 3/16 first. I should have checked that before. Nope. Let's try 7/32. Yeah, it's looking up. Nope. That is a little loose here. Interesting. Are these metric? I guess whatever. It's a little loose, or maybe it was metric. Maybe it's whatever. Anyway, make sure you get the right fit in there. Now I'm curious what this is. Maybe that is a metric. Maybe it is a 5 mil. Okay. Yeah. Generally speaking, if it's metric threaded, it would be metric whatever. So maybe this is actually an 8 mil, and I can't test it now. Anyway, getting off track here. Yeah, these are exactly like the ones you buy in IKEA. Put these all back before I forget which are which. Yes, I can go measure them to be sure. I have calipers. But the point of the ball end over here is that if you're in a weird space, you have a little bit of leeway. These are the right. There we go. Okay. You have a little bit of leeway. Oh, didn't we establish this with a 5 mil? And this was actually an 8 millimeter bolt with a 5 mil thing, right? We established that. Right. Nice tightest fit possible in there. So anyway, you got some wobble here. That's what the ball things are in there for. Spent entirely too long talking about that. But anyway, yeah, these are exactly like you buy an IKEA and throw away. They're a little bit, any set you buy will be slightly better steel. It's nice to have a set for reasons. Sometimes, you just gotta repair the things you bought at IKEA. You have to take them apart, put them back together. You could save the ones and set them back. I actually do save mine in a drawer, which I never use. Actually, sometimes when I give away a crib or something, I gave away a crib, so I gave them a set of I gave them the ones that it came with. But they're all, whatever. It's nice to have another set. But they, like anything else, you can get them in a regular screwdriver format. This happens to be a screwdriver made in Canada by Pickwick that has hex from 2 mil all the way to 6 mil. So 2, 2.5, 3, 4, 5, 5.5, and 6 mil hex adapters. You can get them. You can also get them really commonly. It's called a hex key, folding hex key set. These are not hex key. These are Torque. But usually you go to Home Depot or Lowe's, and you can get like a 3-pack of Torques, which is another thing I'm not really talking about, except I don't have any of my hex folding keys on me. You can get Torques, folding keys, and a SAE hex key and a metric hex key, and they're just in this nice compact form, which is nice to have. At the same time, sometimes it's hard to get at and turn from a tight space. But anyway, that's it over there. But anyway, there's another format. So And that's where I segue into this. So I had this one. This one. Where is it? Is this the one that broke? Yeah. So I left this on over the winter, and even though I closed I guess I left a little water in here, and I didn't drain it, so I left it attached to the hose, and I turned off the hose from inside the house so the hose bib wouldn't freeze, because it wasn't a frost-free hose bib, because basically, your hose bib, the hose spigots, which is what they're really called, some of them are usually frost-free, and all that really means is that they go back into your wall, into like inside your house, and the actual thing that the dial turns is in there, so it's never going to freeze because it's in your house. But if you have it like in a wall, like on your stoop, where like that back is going to get cold, like you just can't go 6 feet back into like your warm house, that doesn't work. So anyway, we did the shutoff valve behind mine. Anyway, this thing froze. This thing started leaking because of that over there. I bought a new one, but I was looking here, and I noticed this is hex size. It's really big. Now, you can buy hex wrenches this big. They actually get big. These actually get super ridiculously big. Sometimes they're literally like, screws that are like have like a 1-inch hex hole on the top over here. That are like, really big. They're probably like a 2-inch screw or something. And the hex wrench is like literally like 1 inch across the flat over here. And they're really big and long. You can absolutely get those, right? But practically speaking, and some people at machine shops do that for reasons, but practically speaking, when you get that big, the way to do it cheaply is you get a set like this, okay? And they have this has all the sizes going down to really relatively small in SAE and metric, and the back goes in socket wrenches, just like you would in automotive part, and you're probably most familiar with them. These things for hex bolts, for external hex heads as opposed to internal hex heads, right? But you can get these sets for them, and I think motorcycles tend to use them a lot. I've never actually used one in a car. I've seen them. I mean, you can, whatever, you take apart enough things, you'll find a weird screw here and there. But I just wanted to take it apart and see how this worked, right? So they all have different size hexes. There seems to be no standard for this, as far as I can tell. But every one of these splitters, even the 4-way, which I happen to have over here, at the 4-way, all have some kind of hex hole, okay? One of the common size seems to be 12 millimeters. Oh, and I'm going to actually talk about this. This one skips 13 millimeters over here. So you'll see in these type of sets, often there'll be either they'll skip the 15 millimeter or the 5/8 because though they're so close together in what they are. So I guess the tolerances are different on the interior hex. So I think that's why it's skipping 13 millimeters. I could be wrong here. There could just literally be no 13 millimeters things. Anyway, but the point is, let's take these apart. So this is a broken one. I already took the one off the back. Well, actually, this one has one. Yeah, that. So let's go take this apart. So you can take apart the back, and then you can. And I think the only reason you want to take apart the back is sometimes you'll have to cut this end off, and you have to cut off your hose bib because they'll get stuck together. And you fix that by putting some lube on. You can use plumber's tape, or I just like this plumber's grease, but just generally use some kind of lubricant on these threads, basically, because they'll just get gummed up when they mixed in here. And yes, as you can see, the one thing I did prepare for this in this whole talk is doing this. We're gonna put this one back in. This one's a little hard. We're going to take out the washer. We don't need the washer in. Just get it started by hand. And so this connection here doesn't need any tape. This one actually does have a little bit of a seal over here. So that's actually important. We'll talk about that when we take apart the next one. because there's going to be more to come here. Because this is where it becomes kind of useful. Now, the one thing keeping this around, just if you just like to keep like half broken things around like me, and if two parts just break in a different way, you know, honestly, yeah, that's the main advantage of taking apart the back part. If you happen to like the back part because one is rubber and you buy, you know, one has the rubber coating or just has the brass or has the hex brass opposed to the round brass or that kind of stuff, then that's why you want that over here. So we got that. We have the washer back in here. Always make sure you have a washer, a hose washer, which you can buy at like Home Depot where you buy the replacement hose things. Just always have a washer back here, even if you put the tape around, or seal stuff off. But here's what I like about, here's where I think this is useful. These sometimes get gummed up. And what if I want to loosen them? So, let's take this apart. Have a little science lesson with these. These are called quarter turn ball valves. There we go. Gotta do this on camera. This one not going to turn. Leverage. No. Okay. Well, now we get on to our next lesson here. So what I would do normally is I put this in a vise. You might not have a bench vise. If you have a bench vise, you're going to use a bench vise. But you're going to use any wrench you have. And you can get a really big version of a pipe wrench like this really cheap. And they're not great. However, for this purpose, for brass, because brass is soft anyway. The big problem with the big cheap pipe wrenches that you get in like National Liquidators or whatever, a discount store that are this big, is that they will, if you hang on them, put too much stress on them, they're going to break. But these are not at all, anyway. These brass things are never going to give you that kind of problem. So, you can just do this. I wanted to demonstrate me doing it this way and not do this for my bench vise because I wanted to show you there are many ways to do this. So this is now. Yeah. Okay. I might just do this off camera. Okay, we got the vice grips. Let me do this now. Problem is, it's hard to torque down and use leverage on this side. How is these? Okay, excuse me. Okay, I did use my bench vise to get these loose. But just to say, if you don't have a bench vise, what you do is you get, this is sort of a model of how you can do this, okay? What you need to basically be able to do to get this loose, in this case, is you need to hold this in place, push down on the head with this finger, and then turn with this to get all the leverage, right? Because I need to push here to keep this steady and turn here to get the leverage, okay? And I need this not to move. So what I do is pretend this piece of wood is the table and pretend it's not a good dining room table. You get a C-clamp, you can get a bench vise, get a workbench, bolt it to your workbench. I think you should all do that at some point in your life. Maybe that's not practical, whatever. You can go to Home Depot, you can go to Harbor Freight, you can go to Lowe's, you go wherever. You get a C-clamp or a G-clamp like this, okay? You put the bottom under a table that you don't particularly care about, or just, use your dining room table when your wife isn't looking late at night when she's asleep. And you put the top on here, and you put these two flat parts against the table over here, And if you're using a table you care about, obviously you would put like another piece of protective wood above this, maybe like a towel or something, make sure this doesn't dent the wood. But this is just to kind of how you do this. If you have a workbench, you tweak down in that, okay? Now that that is attached and this table is a big table, it's not going to move, you simply put this in here. And this is not hard to do when you're not in camera. Like, seriously, this is like not hard to do at all when you're not in camera. But you do that and you get this loose. But anyway, now that we've done how to do that, I kind of wanted to give the lessons here on what this in here. So this is a ball valve, okay? Now, the parts here, there's an O-ring over here. If this ever leaks over here, this black thing is an O-ring. You can pick this out. Oh, I'm picking out my finger. Why do I not have my... You can pick that out with a small toothpick or something. And then, I don't know what size O-ring this uses, but you can go buy individual O-rings at the hardware store. You can go to Home Depot and buy individual ones. Or you can buy a full set of every size of O-ring you'll ever need in your life. You'll spend $20 for this set. You will never want for an O-ring in your life until you find something really weird. You need a particular size. You find the right size O-ring. If this part ever breaks, if that ever leaks, you find the right size O-ring. You put it over there. This one's going to be a little thicker, so whatever, maybe you actually should get the 1/16 as opposed to the 1/8, or that's probably 3/32 thick. Anyway, you put that on over there. Put that back. The other thing. So here's how this works. That's just literally a ball with a hole in it. If I unscrew this screw over here, this will completely pop out and that'll be a pain to get back in, right? But as you can see, this is all loose over here. The only two seals here are this white plastic is pushing at this ball, okay? So when that's turned this and that white ball's here, that's what's keeping the water coming out. And this black O-ring over here is preventing this part from leaking over here, okay? So, you've got a little bit of leeway on this. So if this is too tight, you can always just loosen this a little bit. Like this will probably hold you, and you can just, hook this up to a hose and see if it'll hold water over here, right? The other thing you can do is you can add some lubrication. I'm not really sure what the right approved lubrication is, but what will definitely be appropriate would be grease over here. Actually, I would say it would have to be grease, and the reason it have to be grease is because it's going to get wet. So grease is actually a mixture of an oil or fat and a soap. That is the technical definition of grease. So everything that is grease technically is soap, has some kind of soap. The most common form of grease in mechanics is lithium grease. This is a lithium soap, but this is plumber's grease. So I would use it. So this is PTF paste thread sealant. So this is an alternate to using plumber's tape over here, which is like a white tape that you now see when you buy these things, and all the things at Amazon come with them. But anyway, you can definitely use that, or you can use any kind of, so PTFE means it has Teflon in it, when this is probably a reason why you don't, just rinse this out. That's very sticky, so you don't have to worry about drinking it in any, appreciable amount, even in California. They're not going to tell you that part causes the cancer. I don't think. Actually, that's a good question. Is can you use plumber's grease in California? But then you can sit there, and that part turns a little easier. I now see they're making ones with just longer handles, have more leverage that go up and down like that, which are probably perfectly fine to get. I just like to get like all brass ones. I don't like the plastic coatings. But honestly, probably a plastic threaded splitter would be good, because metal on metal is going to corrode and cut. But if you have a plastic splitter, where everything's plastic except for the ball bearing, connected to metal, then that's actually never going to freeze on. And it might fail, but it's never going to I guess that might be a good point of failure to have. So that might be a good preferred point of failure. Okay. As you can see over here, so this turns super easy when it's loose. And I can probably keep this a little bit loose, because as long as we have the O-ring, the black O-ring engaging, and the white, so as long as we have the black O-ring cinching down, the metal cinching down the black O-ring, and the chrome metal, I don't know if that's chrome, whatever, that shiny silver non-piece of brass, the ball, clamping down and being compressed, well, compressing the white plastic over here, then things will be good. Okay. And like I said, I don't think a dry PTF lube would work in this case. I could be wrong. Someone in the comments tell me I'm wrong. But then you can go here and you can adjust that and basically, tighten this down. And this is actually going to probably get tighter because this is tight. This is screwing in the same direction as your hose. So actually, when you screw a hose over it, the inside is going to get tight too. So anyway, the thing you can do if that ever gets too tight and you can't like open and close it, you can definitely take it apart, try to lube it up a little bit, maybe try to replace it, maybe try to clean any gunk out over there. But I hope me spending 20 minutes taking this apart taught you something about how this worked and how well this worked. I hope you learned something. I know it took a while, but I do this all in one take because I just don't have the time to do editing software. Thank you for watching.